Today I'm going to make some pickled um, cucumbers, and I got a bunch out of the garden the other day and kept them in the fridge. And we're going to make bread and butter pickles for you. But so what you do is you need 4 quarts of cucumbers, and I just nip off the ends, but of course you leave the skins on for pickles. And you don't use regular cucumbers, they're just too wet. You need to use pickling. They can be really small, even smaller than that, or sometimes they just get a little over big, but I utilize all of them, doesn't matter. You can slice them this way, or you can slice them this way. And for this batch I'm going to slice this way. And you need 4 quarts of cucumbers, and you slice them thin, but not too thin. You don't want them to like all be all mushy in the thing. So maybe a couple of millimeters thick. So I'm going to slice up all of these cucumbers that I have and put them in this big steel bowl. And I'm going to layer them with my onions. I have white onions. I harvested a bunch of little ones they're not as marketable, and we always eat the market rejects. So the little ones, I'm going to slice them up and use them in my pickles. And in Nova Scotia, there's no such thing as a red or yellow pepper in July. They're usually August, September. So I had to purchase these actually. But we did harvest our own garlic, and it also has cloves of garlic in it too. So I'm just going to slice a bunch of stuff and layer it in. And I bought a bag of ice. So I'm going to put some ice in the layers, and the garlic, the peppers, the onions, and the cucumbers are going to sit with layers of ice, and they're going to rest there for 3 hours. And this recipe makes the crispiest bread and butter pickles you've ever had. And I think that's the secret, is just getting them super, super cold before they go into the brine, and then into warm jars. So that is one big bowl filled with cucumbers, red peppers, yellow peppers, garlic, and onions. And I'm going to start to prepare my husband's favorite way to do pickles. He likes his sliced this way. And again, try not to go too thin, because then they become kind of mushy. They don't hold their shape. So you sort of want them to be, I don't know, a couple of millimeters thick. And he'll just have a little bit of onions in with his. And some garlic. I'll put a few garlic cloves in with his. the plain ones that are sliced longways with their ice on. So a few minutes into the leaving the cucumbers and onions, etc., with the ice, you're going to add 1/3 of a cup of a coarse pickling salt, and you're going to sprinkle it over and through the layers. So it gives you a good opportunity to stir them up a bit, make sure that they're all contacting some ice, and now the salt. And then now we're going to let them sit for another 2.5 hours. I've got all my jars washed. They're upright in trays in the oven, like that. You're going to put hot liquid in with the pickles into these jars, so the jars need to be hot. So we might as well sterilize them, and then I think we water bath them at the end. So I get the jars in the oven on low temperature. It's 125 Celsius. There, I get the lids and the screw bands in with my funnel. Just before I'm ready to jar, I'll pour a kettle full of hot boiling water over that to sterilize those. So then everything, the pickles and the liquids will go into hot sterile jars and then into the water bath. So now I'm going to make the liquid that goes with it is 3 cups of apple cider vinegar. The next ingredient is sugar, 5 cups. And for each batch, it is 1.5 teaspoons of turmeric. Half. The same amount of celery seed. 1.5 teaspoons per batch. That's 2 batches. And then the mustard seed is 2 tablespoons for each batch. It's 1, 2 for each batch. And that's, whoop, there. And we're going to bring this juice and cucumbers that are all drained of their water and ice. And I'm going to bring that to a boil, just to a boil. Good morning. It's Paul and Marilyn, Hawthorne Hill Homestead. We're on the last half row of harvesting garlic, and it's a great crop this year. And Paul's going to explain the best way to harvest garlic so that you don't damage it in any way. We only use shovels, a fork. Yeah, it's great for digging, but there's 4 or 5 prongs on the end. That's 4 or 5 times the damage that you could do to your garlic as you're digging. So we use shovels. It's a bit dry, so it's really hard to get it out, especially on the ends. But I'm just going to, he'll explain how to get it out.
A shovel handle, shovel like this, the handle and the blade are not in a straight line, as you can see. The blade is at an angle. So if you go straight into the ground by the handle, your blade is going to cut into the garlic if you're too close to it. So you got to go, your blade has to be set, orientated to go straight in. So the shovel handle's got to be in front of you. So I don't know, I'm about 5 inches roughly away from the stalk. So the blade went straight down, and then I'm just pulling up to kind of loosen it. Otherwise, you're gonna the stalk's gonna come away from the bulb. And as you can see, we've got some clay soil here, so there's a lot of soil intermingled with the roots. There's a good root ball there, and we just tease it off. Give it a little bit of a hand brush there, and there's your garlic bulb, cleanly lifted and not destroyed.
Do another.
Again, you kind of just about 5 inches away from the stalk, angle your blade of your shovel is straight down. Your shovel handle is away from you. I don't know what angle it is, but just give it a little oomph, and the blade's below the bulb. You're not going to destroy the bulb. There's your bulb. Again, lots of clay soil there, but it's a beautiful bulb. It's a nice bulb of garlic right there.
So it's a 2-person job to do garlic. One person digs and kind of pulls them out, like Paul's doing there, and puts them in a pile. Oh, that's a lot of dirt. And puts them in a pile, and the other person gets down on the ground and cleans them off a bit. That's my job. So to clean them, you can see they have dirt on them, okay? Make sure you keep your dirt in your garden. You don't dispose of it on the lawn or anything. Keep it in your garden. And I just gently twist the soil off the roots, okay? And that's how a garlic will go into the cure shed. We do not trim our garlic at all until it's 6 weeks to 8 weeks of cured. And I have a little test to know when it's cured, which is when you do your first trimming and you cut across, depending if you want 1 inch or 2 inch of a little stalk, when you cut it across, you put that immediately to your lip. And if you can feel a little bit of moisture, a little bit of coolness, your garlic is not cured yet and should remain with the stalks and the roots on for another week. But if it feels dry like paper, then it's cured. Then we'll put these on the tractor and I'll go show you what we've got in the cure shed. So this is the little shed that is down sort of in the middle of the where all the gardens are. And in here, we use bread trays. Some we've got for free and some we had to purchase. And what we do is we can have 4 towers in this little shed, and we stack them probably for big ones we'll stack 40, 20 on each side, and for the mediums we can get 50. And in here we have 2 big fans, and we change the position twice a day. We also have a dehumidifier that sits in here. So at night when the doors are shut, we can turn the dehumidifier on. So we have not as many bread trays as we'd like, but we have extra we'll put in here. And we have fans going. Under, you can probably see their fan. We have 2 or 3 big fans. And then we have to lay them out on racks to cure them. You want to keep them out of the sun, any sunlight on your garlic. They really don't like light, and they do really like air. And the more air you can give them, the better they'll cure. So 6 weeks in here, curing, with fans going 24/7 and dehumidifiers going at night when they're all locked up and all the windows open. So you get every window in your building open that you can. So we are in the barn now, and although it's not like perfect, we have 2 big doors. We have a big east door and we have a big west door. And there is good airflow in here, and there's windows up above. But we do keep some fans going. We have several small fans in here. And these garlic are red Russian. So they're very pink, and they're very nice size this year. They look great. Yeah, lots of roots on them. Yeah, so we're very pleased with the garlic harvest. This year we had a lot of really nice big ones. There. And for your seed garlic, you definitely want that really well cured, because the seed garlic, you don't want it to rot in the field after it's planted, and not to have any disease in it. So we aim for very well cured, disease-free, organically grown garlic, and it's very popular. If you just take like 2/3 of the plant and you leave a nice stalk, it'll grow back. It'll be a nice thick bush again. This is like a pruning job, and they don't mind it at all. Got a few more garlic out of the garlic shed. These ones were pulled off the stalk by accident, so I thought I'll just use them for the pesto. Be great use of them. I've got everything ready for the pesto. So all I do is I just take as much basil as I can fit into it. Okay. And I'll put a couple cloves of garlic and a couple squares of Parmesan. I'll put a sprinkle of cheese, maybe I think a quarter of a teaspoon, and maybe an eighth of a teaspoon for pepper. And then I'll take maybe about a quarter cup of pine nuts. And a bit of oil. So it's just kind of a guess job. Oh, it smells fantastic. Then I have a whole bunch of little jars here. So just pop him off and take the blade out. There's one basil leaf that didn't get done. And just with a little spoon, I like these little mason jars. They're clean, you can stack them, they're small. It's the right portion for a meal. It take 2 or 3 tablespoons. Once I get quite a few done, I'll just put them on a little cookie sheet and run them down and put them in the deep freezer. But they stay so nice and green. They're really nice, and the smell in here is just fabulous.